Welcome back to the Gone for 10 show. It's the end of the Rugby League World Cup. The boys, Australia, they are the champions of the world. It was a cracking game. Take away the result. Massive props to Samoa. I don't want to talk too much about good job on getting there because I still think they came into that final backs and they really gave it a massive crack. First of all, how are you doing? And then talk to me first about Samoa's performance and we'll jump into the game as a whole.
Yeah, I'm currently doing well. We've got the big screen TV here watching the Soccer World Cup at the moment. It's 1-0 Argentina over Saudi Arabia, so I'll keep my eye on that. But let's get into it, eh?
Well, you know, guys, if there's any football fans in here, make sure you abuse him for calling it soccer right there. It's a football World Cup. It's a FIFA Football World Cup. But let's jump straight into it. It obviously was, as it says on the screen, 30-10 to Australia. That man on the screen, our ambassador, that referee, he's showing you what to watch. He's showing you to go watch the Gone for 10 show. But Baxter, let's jump straight into it. It was 30-10, possession 53-47, completion rate 70-72, errors 15-10, run meters 1,949 to 1,471. The try scorers was Latrell Mitchell in the 13th minute, James Tedesco in the 17th, Liam Martin in the 29th, Cameron Murray in the 52nd, Brian Tyler in the 60th, James Tedesco in the 68th, Crichton. Mate, if this guy's an intercept kin, another intercept in the 70th minute, and obviously Latrell Mitchell finished it off in the 80th. Nathan Cleary 3 from 6, Stephen Crichton 1 from 2. Baxter, what were your thoughts on this game? Obviously, Australia started off slow. They had a few calls go in their favour. There was the 40-20 that was kicked.
It should have been.
Again, it wasn't going to be a 40-20. If it did go out, it was short of the 20, but obviously Tedesco touches the ball. He's standing out. The ball hits the line. It's out. That's 3-4 minutes into the game. Does that change the results? What were your thoughts on that call and obviously the game as a whole?
Yeah, it doesn't change the outcome, I believe. I think it's more so you've got 73 minutes, 77 minutes worth of the game left to go. So 140-20 in the third minute doesn't result in a win overall. I think in hindsight, Samoa played their grand final the week before against England. But that's in hindsight. But they look good for the most part. But England, as you said, Australia looked a bit tired. Didn't look like themselves. I couldn't believe that Tedesco, being the hog, could have passed it to Josh Adokar, could have made the top try scorer of all time. But, you know, once a hog, always a hog. And crosses the line for a double. Latrell crosses for a double. And, that mine player of the season, of the series, Liam Martin, scores a try as well. So it's good on everybody here. Good on Samoa because, we go back to 2017. They were 3 games on the loss, early out in the group stage. And here they are 5 years later, making a final. So proud. I think Mount Druitt went off on Saturday night, like 10 o'clock at night. Like there was so many hours left to go, and they're just partying like they've won the whole thing. And it was great to see. Again, I think scrap this tier 1, tier 2 thing and just let them play. It's good for the game. And it's, we're going to reap the fruits from this, and let's get the most out of it.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, let's turn our attention, to Australia a little bit more to start with. Then we'll touch on, obviously, the Samoan side, where it went right. They had a lot of injuries, so massive, massive props for them making it this far. And again, 20 points against Australia to a very, very young Samoan squad. I'd say arguably they kept this competitive, and it's probably a closer final than what some people would have expected. But obviously, let's talk about the main players. You've already touched about James Tedesco. He's got 2 premierships. He's got, obviously, the State of Origin win. He now adds a captain of the World Cup side to his resume, the man of the match in the World Cup final. Talk to me about James Tedesco now. I know you can be a bit biased. I can be a bit biased one way or the other. But at this stage currently, did he just show that arguably he is the best fullback in the game at this stage?
Yeah, he is. Because if you look at it, the other bloke wearing the one for Samoa is by other pundits and reporters he's picked at number 3 for the Roosters fullback role. So, look, he's done tremendous things over the years since moving from the Tigers in, I think it was 2018. Coming to the Roosters, he's just gone up a level. You've seen it in his game. As much as I dislike him, and there's no hatred towards him, I just dislike him. I think people piss on his pocket a little bit too much, and it's just getting a bit full. Look, I don't think he was the player of the match, though.
You're ridiculous. Every single NRL podcast, every single pundit beside you has said Tedesco was out of his mind. 200 plus meters,
he was
6
good.
tackle breaks.
He was good. I'm not going to say he wasn't.
Who was better? Who was better?
I think there was a bloke in the centres playing a little bit better than
Latrell Mitchell.
Yeah, look, I'm not
100
saying,
less running meters, 6 less tackle breaks.
I'm not saying
1 less
that,
line break.
I'm saying this: like, if I had to pick if I had to pick a final 3 for man of the match, Teddy's in my final 3. Does he deserve it? That's for everybody else's opinion. I don't think it should have, because it was too easy to give it to him, the winning captain. I don't like, when it gets too easy.
Come on, mate. You're currently watching the FIFA World Cup. You tell me if Argentina wins, they're not going to give it to Messi. That's not too easy.
Well, that's a gimme ball. Like, come on, man. But no, like, as I said, if you had to pick a final 3 of man of the matches, Teddy's there, for sure. But as you said, 2 rings, 2 rings, Origin wins. Now is he debut as Australian fullback?
I think he had a bit of game time. I don't know if he was at fullback back in 2018 or if there was a few lead-up games. But, this is his first major tournament.
Well, yeah, so, cap it all off. If he was to retire today, his career, you put him on the likes of Anthony Melicello and the rest of the New South Wales and great fullbacks like Billy Slater. You can put him up there against the rest of them, and you could arguably say he's one of the greatest fullbacks of all time. But
let's talk enough about Teddy, because I know, and I can see your head starting to burn. You're getting a bit upset having to talk too much, but let's talk about the man. Obviously, you did bring up Latrell Mitchell, arguably the most dangerous left centre in the game when he does play centre. I think it's crazy that he doesn't play that in clubland. There's rumours if he's about to ink a massive deal with South Sydney when he does get back home. That's massive. However, we just saw how explosive he is at centre. So talk to me, that first try, pure strength. The last try, it was like a chef's kiss on the final whistle. Is he a better fullback? Is he a better centre? Where would you play him? Let's say he goes to the Cowboys. Where would you like to see him play?
Well, if he's coming to the Cowboys, I'm rather in fullback, because Scotty Drinkwater, whilst he wants to play 6, I just don't think he has the. I know we're going a bit off topic, but I don't think he has the defensive line mentality to play 6. So you put him at 1. There's less defensive work to be done in the line. So I think that's where Latrell is a bit better. But I think Scotty, I'd rather Latrell at fullback, but Peter Iku is another great centre. So, if you had to slid him in somewhere, I'll put him at fullback, and Scotty can play 14. All happy days.
And obviously the last man to obviously talk about a bit more in depth, obviously Nathan Cleary for Australia. We spoke obviously in the preview. We said if it's a blowout, he's going to have a cracking game, as we usually see. But surely you can't fault this guy. Okay, yes, he went 3 from 6 with the boot, but mate, 4 try assists or 3 try assists, 4 line break assists. The guy attacked the line. He absolutely dominated Samoa from start to finish. Who knows? He might have a new son called Luai if he wants to go down that path and make sure he calls him daddy. But what were your thoughts on obviously Nathan Cleary's performance? His kick-in, again, questionable. It didn't cost us this tournament, but another tournament could cost us. So what were your thoughts on Nathan Cleary?
He did well for his rookie World Cup tour. I think besides his conversion kicking, he had a 9.9 overall tournament out of 10 in my books. That 0.1 is that conversion kicking, but anybody can do better when it comes to the boot. But getting your game down right, jumping into a Australian side that is mixed with different clubland players, state of origin players. To get the cohesion and the gel in the spine really helps. And it was good to see that it all worked wonders, and we're back-to-back champs.
Well, it's back, I believe it is, isn't it? Didn't we go free? Is it the free, Pete? Locked in?
I wasn't too sure if we had won the 2013 World Cup.
While you look that up, you can bump in once you do figure it out. But obviously, a massive shout out to Isaiah Yo. The bloke made 43 tackles without missing a tackle in this game. So defensively, brilliant. Attacking stats, he doesn't get as much love as everyone else does. But obviously, in defense, he was an absolute weapon. He shut down Samoa. Absolutely brilliant performance. But Baxter, I don't know if you've got that yet, but I am going to ask you another question while you are looking that up. Obviously, Brian To'o, Stephen Crichton, Luai, all those players that do play for Penrith, they are quite young. They're going to be around come the next World Cup. What did you make of, obviously, To'o, Crichton's, Suali'i, Luai, all that spine? What did you make of that?
Yeah, we are triple threat champions. Obviously, an unfortunate Billy Slater back over the head back pass ruined a 5 in a row World Cup champ, whatever you want to call it, 5 in a row. But 3 in a row, it's good. Again, to your second point, this young Samoa side looks good. Needs to stay together. Now, it's all be up in the air because let's just say a few years later down the track, Brian To'o gets picked for Australia or something, or Stephen Crichton. Will they leave this Samoa squad and start playing for this Australia squad and start, are we going to start picking the best players out of this Samoa squad and then start from the start again with Samoa and Tonga with the where got all the best players? I think I put a comment in. I forget who it was in the preview or the review preview of the semi-finals and the final. I don't want to see Australia be the best, like just picking the eyes out of the other nations. I'd love to see Samoa just build on top of this and continue to be a threat at an international level. I think I said it was once upon a time that to put on the national jersey, whether it is Australia or Samoa, was the highest honour. And then it's sort of the limelight and the money of origin sort of took over, and it was more to do represent New South Wales or Queensland than represent one of these other nations. So I'm glad that it's heading back to the highest honour of being the international test football. Again, we don't need to go into that. I think you can watch previous pods about our discussions of what state of origin should be like. But go back and have a look. But
I guess the big thing. What was that?
I was just going to say, hopefully the IRL, which is the International Rugby League, can from now to the next World Cup can set up a plan and go, okay, New Zealand from now till 2025 is the next World Cup. New Zealand, you're playing. You got 10 tests you got to complete. England, you got 10. Samoa, you got 10. You start paving a way for these nations to keep playing, because if they don't go from now till the next World Cup and don't play a single game together consistently, We're
Yeah,
just
it's
falling back
definitely
in
an
our.
interesting one. Obviously, the IRL could jump in, they could do that. But again, outside a World Cup season, these players belong to their clubs. So to try and find times after the season, especially now that it's been extended, is going to be tough. I think what they could do is scrap this, or not scrap it, but this Prime Minister's XI that is the players that didn't make the Australian squad or aren't making the finals. How about we have, say, the lead up to the NRL final? So all these players, every single player in the NRL, you know that if you're contracted, whether you make the finals or not, you're playing up until grand final day. So the lead up, the Friday, the Saturday, you have New Zealand versus, say, Samoa, Australia's XI versus Tonga. You get them in there, they play those games, and then you highlight it with obviously the final of the W League and obviously the NRL, NRLW, all that kind of stuff. I think that's probably the best step going forward. You then chuck in a few games postseason, but again, players get fatigued. But that's a debate for another day. But we'll talk about this a bit more when we do talk about the roster, the NRL draw, the roster, each team. But let's talk about the big boiling point in this game. He's been given 2 weeks. It's Angus Crichton for the elbow on Harris Tavita, I believe it was. He was
Yeah.
knocked out cold. Tavita's come out and said, you know what, the sin binning maybe was a bit soft. So what were your thoughts on this? Did you think it deserved the sin binning? Did you think it could have been more so he got knocked out, that's why he went to the bin? Like, if he doesn't get knocked out, do you see him going to the bin is my first question.
No, I don't think any the injury of the other player should not be a factor to what has happened. Example, use the same scenario. Angus Crichton raises his arm in a sort of bumper bar like style, and Tavia Harris, gets knocked down from that and bounces back straight up. I don't think whether because he's been knocked out cold or he bounces back up, because he's been knocked out hard, he should be sent off, or because he didn't get knocked out, it should be only a 10-minute bin, 10 in the bin. I think it should just be on the basis of what has happened, and regardless of what's injury has happened, it should just be, right there and then, okay, what you did was wrong. It's 10 in the bin or send off or whatever, or it's on report, whatever it is, and then deal with the injured party. But I believe it should have been a not a 10 in the bin, but a sent off altogether. I think we've seen it with, I think the one I used on you was the Chad Townsend when he was playing Cronulla against Kalen Ponga, where referee didn't even blow his whistle.
Completely different. One was a swinging arm. One was a swinging arm across the top of him.
That's what I mean. Like, I believe it's after the whistle's gone, and a blow's happened.
But do you not then, okay, the whistle's gone? If Tavita hits Angus Crichton, is that a sin bin because it's after the whistle?
Yeah,
Does Crichton not have all right to lift his arm and protect himself?
I don't think he was. I don't think Tavia Harris. Just looking at the replay, I don't think if let's just say Crichton doesn't put his arm up, I don't think Tavita was really going in there like at full force. I think he pulled up a little bit.
Yeah, but you can't hit someone after a whistle blown.
Well, then,
you can't tackle someone.
But then again, that's what I say. I believe that then you would charge the player. It works for one, it works for the other. Because we always see the attacking team always getting hurt by the defending team's wrestling and tactics and whatnot. And now the attacking team or the attacking player has come up with his own protection against it. And it's like, well, you can't do that either. So, Crichton puts his arm down, he gets, taken out with a tackle by Tavita. All right, you're in the bin, or you're sent off. Whatever you want to do. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander there, and that's where I'm going to leave it on that.
Well, I think it will be interesting. Obviously, he was given 2 weeks. He has appealed that. Now we don't know when that case is going to be. Obviously, Tavita and Angus Crichton are traveling around Europe together at the moment, so we're not too sure when that case is going to be. It'll be when he gets back in Australia, but there is rumours going around Twitter that Harris Tavita is going to be part of Angus Crichton's defence. So he's arguably going to get off there if Tavita comes in and says it was minimal contact. He caught me in a perfect spot. He probably will get off. But like you said, it's a debate for another day. We're here to wrap up the Rugby League World Cup tournament. Let's move on. Most points, unlike what Channel 9 likes to report, it was Stephen Crichton. Now, if you haven't seen it, I sent a message to Baxter because I was so confused last night when Channel 9 or 9, whatever sport, whatever it was, put up that Nathan Cleary and Tommy.
Facebook page.
NRL Online, they put up that Tommy from England and obviously Nathan Cleary tied on 68. And we both went back and we counted, we double checked. And obviously, massive congratulations to Stephen Crichton. He is the most points scored at the tournament. Top try scorer, Josh Adokar, 12. As you alluded, he tied the record. He was one off beating it. He was a flick pass here. He was a flick pass there.
Teddy the Hog.
It's unfortunate. But in the end, you know what? He was instrumental in us winning that final. So I think he's going to be happy regardless. He's going to kiss his little medal every time he goes to bed. And he's going to be happy. And obviously, Nathan Cleary, 32 goals. He was the most goals kicked at the tournament. Baxter, wrapping up on this, did you have any, I guess, final thoughts for me or main takeaways that really surprised you, inspired you, got you excited about this Rugby League World Cup?
I guess it was the fact it wasn't playing in Australia. It was played elsewhere. Made a little bit of a difference for me. Rugby league's probably one of the top sports played in Australia. But it was good to see that the England faithful, no matter who was playing, really got behind whatever match was being dealt out. You look at opening day, England, Samoa at St James Park. The crowd was buzzing, loud and proud. Tonga, Samoa, quarterfinals, loud and proud again. Good to see that the people turned up for it and supported whoever was playing. But yeah, that's my takeaway. What about you, man?
I guess my biggest takeaway from this was the Samoan crowd. Obviously, if you haven't seen it, they did have a massive reception when they got back to Australia. I don't know if you've seen that, Baxter. Did you see that reception when they did return?
I saw a little bit. I saw parts of it. And as again, I say, it was really, really good. It was really good to see from the Samoan fans and faithful here in Australia. Again, that's what I'm saying. This squad needs to stay together. If you get a big juicy offer to go play for another country, deny it. Stay with this squad, build on it, because you got 3 years until the next World Cup, and I bet my bottom dollar that they're going to be in the Final Four yet again if they can keep this squad together.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what the Rugby League World Cup does do for the next one. Do they make the pools a bit more even? Do they let these blowouts continue? It's a bit of an interesting one. Do they cut down the numbers so it's more competitive? Who knows? But Baxter, we will wrap up there. We are pushing the 25-minute mark. So, mate, thank you again for joining me. Guys, if you haven't already, we're only about 23 subscribers away from that 200 subscribers mark. So please hit like, please hit subscribe on this video. Support's been brilliant, Bax. I don't know if I showed you this, but this will be our 8th video that we have recorded for the World Cup, and we're currently sitting at about 13,000 views across those 8 videos. So a massive hand to all the people. Yeah, massive hand to obviously all the people that had tuned in. And obviously, this is the last game of the year, or for a while to the season now. What we're going to do is we're going to try and crack up. We're going to have NRL draws from each team. So that should get us going once a week, twice a week. We're going to have some special guests. We're going to have some players, some ex-players, some referees, a bit of everything coming on the show and having a chat. So Baxter, I look forward to covering that with you. And mate, one last time, we haven't said it all episode. Give me a Aussie, mate.
Aussie.
Oi.
Yeah, well done.
All right.
Well, I've got to say, thank you to Tony. For the people that don't know, Tony, he's putting in all the effort. He does the behind-the-scenes stuff. So he's done the background. He does all the videos. He clips it all together. He just gets me to come on and just ramble on for half an hour, and then he does all the hard work. So everything you see, Instagram and on YouTube, you got to give thanks to him because he's doing it all. I've said privately that if we got paid for this, he could have a 70-30 split of the money because he's doing more share of the work along this. I know it was just you and Larry that started it, and I was pipping you along the way when it started to get quiet down, and we've just taken it. We've taken it, and we've gone up to a new level. So, if everybody, give thanks to you, Tony. You've done your heart out for this, and let's keep it going in 2023.
Appreciate it. And obviously, thank you to you. Obviously, this did die down. We did miss a few rounds. You jumped on board. We finished the season. And like you said, we've taken it to another level and we're going to take it to another level. Obviously, come with the new season. But Baxter, to wrap up, Australia back to back champions, mate. Thank you for joining me and we'll talk soon.
See you then.